I just shared my screen with the start of the presentation. Are you guys able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, I think we're ready to go. Councilman, if you would like to kick off the start of the meeting, I would appreciate that.
Sure. I just want to thank everyone who is here. I think it's mostly staff, but a couple of neighbors, and appreciate y'all tuning in for this very important next step in the Davis Street corridor design and expansion. This is our little COVID classroom here at my house, and we're back in school, fortunately, but we still got all our COVID supplies here in case it flares back up again. But from my home to yours, thank you for joining us tonight, and for being a part of this engagement. And I'll turn it over to Chris and her very capable team to take it from here.
Thank you so much, Councilman West. My name is Chris Turner Noteware. I am the Assistant Director and City Engineer for the City of Dallas, and I would like to introduce some of our staff members that are also on the line. So first we have Haitham Hassan from the Public Works Department. He is the Senior Program Manager who's working on this project. We also have Linda Majid from the Public Works Department. She is the Project Manager on the project. We have Gus Concarly, who is an Assistant Transportation Director on the line as well. We have Kimberly Smith, who is a Senior Transportation Planner, and she will also be assisting with the project. And Catherine Rush, who is a Principal Transportation Planner in our Transportation Department. We also have some county folks, and I would like to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves as well.
Hi, I'm Tushar Solanki. I'm Assistant Director with Dallas County.
Noé Villarreal, Transportation Engineer, Assistant Project Manager for this project, Davis.
And Chris, I'm here. This is Alberta Blair, Director of Public Works with Dallas County.
Thank you, Alberta. I didn't see you join. I apologize.
No problem.
And are there any city staff that I missed? Okay. With that, let's make sure the presentation is going to go here. So I would like to notify you that we are recording both audio and video. And this is basically so that we can have a recording of the meeting and that we can take notes afterwards. So if everyone will please mute your microphones, it would be appreciated. Instead of a sign-in sheet, we're recording everyone's name so that we can see it for the official meeting record. I can't tell if there's anyone who has just called in. So if anyone who can see my participant list can please let me know if there is anyone who has just called in as opposed to actually signed into the meeting. I would appreciate it.
We do. We have two phone numbers, a 469-349, or the first is the area code, and then the first three numbers, and then the next one is 469-438. If you two wouldn't mind putting your names with your phone number in the chat box, that would be great. Thank you.
That way we'll have the recording as well that you're attending the meetings. So thank you for that. We appreciate that. So if you have any questions and answers, please submit all questions and comments via the chat room. Questions will be reviewed by the team during the meeting and a response will be prepared for the end of the presentation. If we do require a more detailed response, it'll be responded to within 30 days of receipt of the question. If you've called into this meeting and wish to submit questions or comments, please email kimberly.smith@dallascityhall.com. And that's Kimberly, KIMBERLY.Smith@dallascityhall.com. The project also has a survey that many of you have already responded to, so we do appreciate that. And I will post the link at the end of the presentation, and you are also welcome to leave your comments on the survey. So for our agenda, we'll talk about the project information, talk about existing conditions and operations, proposed operations, we'll talk about your input into the process, our next steps, and then the contact information for the project. So the project itself is located on Davis Street between Cockrell Hill to Clinton, and it's in the Oak Cliff area. So as you can see, as I'm pointing here, here's kind of our Oak Cliff area and Davis Street between Cockrell Hill down to Clinton. So City of Dallas bond dollars and the Dallas County Major Capital Improvement Program will be funding reconstruction of Davis Street with bicycle facilities between Cockrell Hill and Clinton. So currently we're in the conceptual planning phase, and it includes basically defining the project goals, identifying issues and opportunities, evaluating alternatives, and determining the horizontal roadway alignment, which includes the number of side width and those type of things, and also developing schematic plans. And the conceptual planning phase will essentially help prioritize the entire order for specific segments to be improved within the corridor, since the entire corridor will not be improved at one time. So what you can also see at the bottom of this slide is kind of what the entire process is for a project, and you can see that we're in this project scoping and conceptual planning phase, this second spot here. So looking at the overall project area and relationship to other Davis Street projects, this project itself is our bond project and our partnership with Dallas County between Cockrell Hill over here to Clinton on the end. We do have a 2012 bond project that was done basically between Clinton and Beckley. It added sidewalks, on-street parking, and lighting, and we did complete construction on this just this year. And we do have a 2017 bond project planned for reconstruction east of here between Beckley and Patton. And basically the design is due to be done at the end of calendar year 2020, and estimated overall completion is due to be in 2023. So talking about our existing conditions and operations, first we'll talk about land use, we'll talk about the existing roadway operations, then some crash data and the bicycle network. So the first map we have here looks pretty busy, but what we're trying to show you here is the land use that's within the corridor. And the red here is commercial. So we have a lot of commercial as we're coming from the west end of the corridor, and then we have some still kind of intermixed in here. We have a lot of orange in here, which is multifamily residential, and then the yellow is single family residential. So we have a mixed use corridor, which has defined sections that could require different cross sections to meet the needs of the corridor as we're going through this. We also have a lot of public facilities which are within about a half mile. We have the DART bus route 542 and 568. We have 7 schools. We have a fire station on Sheldon. The Kids Springs Recreation Center is nearby. There are 9 public parks and 1 public golf course. And also looking at our public facilities, our DART facilities, we have 6 DART bus stops, 2 DART bus routes. We're 1.7 miles to the streetcar station, and the light rail red line is just southeast of the study area. So looking at this very busy slide, what it is essentially showing is within the corridor, we've divided the corridor into segments. Segment A is between Cockrell Hill and Fort Worth, as you can see my cursor up here. Segment B is between Fort Worth and Westmoreland. Segment C is between Westmoreland and Hampton. D is between Hampton and Rosemont, and then E is between Rosemont and Clinton. So what we've put in the table is some condensed information to show what the right-of-way width is in each segment, to show what the existing operation is in terms of how many lanes they have, if there's a median or if there's a center turn lane. We've put the average daily traffic counts in each segment, and then also the speed limit. So there's a lot of information on this slide, but it's really to kind of condense information so people can go back and reference it in a condensed format later. So looking at our existing operations between Cockrell Hill and Fort Worth, essentially we have over 100 feet of right in this area. So we do have 6 through lanes, 3 lanes in each direction, and we do have a left turn lane. So you can see by the picture in the lower right what that looks like right now. And we'll go through these kind of one by one to show you what the existing operations are. So at the Davis and Fort Worth intersection, this intersection currently does not have pedestrian access, and it was really designed to make sure we move traffic through the intersection. So as you can see where my cursor is, we have a lot of merge configurations, and these create conflicts with the existing traffic and it also encourages high-speed traffic. So we'll be looking at this intersection to see what improvements we can make for pedestrian access and also to eliminate some of these conflicts and to slow traffic down a little bit. So looking at the section between Fort Worth and Westmoreland, we also have, can whoever just joined the meeting please mute their microphone? Thank you. So between Fort Worth and Westmoreland, we also have 100 feet of right-of-way. You can see in the picture in the lower right that we have 3 through lanes coming westbound and we have 2 lanes going eastbound, and there is a left turn lane. And this section is actually preparing to drop an eastbound lane for the next section of roadway. So coming to Westmoreland to Hampton, again, we have about 100 feet of right-of-way. And we actually have 4 through lanes in this section and a center left turn lane. So you can kind of see the representative picture in the lower right. And looking east from Hampton Road, again, we have about 100 feet of right-of-way. And we have 6 through lanes. And there is sidewalk on the south, and there are often cars parked on the south as well in this area, just to kind of make a note. At Mary Cliff, the roadway changes going eastbound. It drops to 1 lane, and westbound adds 2 lanes. And at Rosemont, we actually have 7th Street, and 7th Street has been closed to vehicles. So we have some issues we need to work through in this area of how we're going to deal with the transitions in here as well. And then looking at Davis from east of Rosemont, we currently have basically 1 lane in each direction and intermittent parking and about 55 to 60 foot of right-of-way. And then looking at our crash history in the corridor, essentially between 2015 and 2019, we've had a total of 557 crashes. We've had 17 fatal and severe injuries. Those are called FSIs. And we've circled on the map kind of where our top crash locations are. At Cockrell Hill Road, we've had 118 total crashes with 4 FSIs. At Fort Worth and Gilpin, we've had 5 SFIs. And then down here at Hampton, we've had 89 total accidents with 1 FSI. And some of those key contributing factors to those accidents are failure to yield while turning left and then speeding. So some of these things are those things we're trying to address as part of the study to look at how we can improve safety and reduce crashes as well. This project in Davis is also on the bicycle network and the bike plan, and it connects to several existing proposed bike lanes and bicycle facilities. So to just kind of summarize our existing conditions, for land use, Davis Street between Cockrell Hill and Westmoreland, it's commercial and light industrial. Between Westmoreland and Clinton, we have more mixed use commercial and residential, and that's kind of what we showed you on that land use map that had those nice red, orange, and yellow colors. We have right-of-way changes pretty much between Cockrell Hill and Mary Cliff. We have about 100 feet of right-of-way, and between Mary Cliff and Clinton, that reduces to 60 feet of right-of-way. And to explain, right-of-way is essentially the area that we have to construct the roadway, sidewalks, utilities, and those type of things. It's essentially the area of the roadway and the facility that the city owns. We have safety improvements that are needed at the intersection of Davis and Cockrell Hill, and also Fort Worth Avenue in Hampton. And as we just mentioned, Davis Street is on the 2011 bike plan, so we do need to include bicycle lane accommodations. So looking at some of our preliminary improvement options in the 100-foot right-of-way sections between Cockrell Hill and Mary Cliff, the 60-foot right-of-way sections between Rosemont and Clinton, and then the Davis Street and Fort Worth Avenue intersection. I do want to note that these cross sections are preliminary and conceptual for illustrative use only. We just wanted to show you some examples of what we could do out here to get your reactions. So looking at option 1 for the 100-foot right-of-way sections, which as we said was from Cockrell Hill to Mary Cliff, essentially we could do a shared use path on both sides, which would basically include 4 travel lanes. We would have a 15-foot median with a center turn lane and 12-foot shared use paths on either side of the roadway there. I want to note that trees are shown here, but they're really placeholders for utility poles, signs, lighting, and they may not be installed as part of the future reconstruction project, but they're just there as placeholders. Our second option in here is to have both sidewalks and bike lanes. We would still have 4 drive lanes. We would still have a 15-foot center median, but we would have buffering on both sides here, this little 2-foot buffer, and 6-foot bike lanes. And then we would include a 6-foot sidewalk on both sides. And a third option could be a shared use path on one side and parking on one side. Again, 4 travel lanes, we keep the median. But in this one, we would have a 6.5-foot sidewalk on one side. We'd have a shared use path and then a parking lane. So again, these are illustrations to show you possibilities of what we could do. Looking at the 60-foot right-of-way section, again, some different options. We could have bike lanes, 1 travel lane in each direction with bike lanes. Option 2 down here on the left shows parking on one side. So basically a drive lane in each direction, the turn lane, and then a parking lane. And then option 3 could be parking on both sides. And looking at the Davis and Fort Worth intersection improvement options, we have a couple different options. One would be to make this into a T intersection, and you can kind of see from the various colors here the direction of traffic. You would have southbound Fort Worth coming this direction, westbound Davis and eastbound Davis, and then northbound Fort Worth going this way. And another potential option would be a roundabout. And this location actually lends itself very well to a potential roundabout because we do have a lot of land in the middle here, which you can see over here. And it would also help to create much less confusion with movements. So these are a couple of potential options for the Davis and Fort Worth intersection. And then looking down, this is a 7th Street area that if the bicycle facilities move to 7th Street, the intersection will need to be improved and we'll need to add some sharrows to 7th Street. So we do need to closely look at this area in here to see what we need to do in this transition area. So what we're looking for is your input. What do you like about Davis Street? Goals be for this project? What preliminary options do you prefer? What other improvements would you like to see made to Davis Street? And some of those potential improvements could be crosswalks. It could be traffic signals. It could be that you like shared use paths and sidewalks, or you don't. That link that we mentioned for the survey, how to get involved, is given here, http://www.dallascitynews.net, etc. Dallas seeks resident input, Davis Street corridor study. We also do have key links here. So there's survey links. We have an English survey and a Spanish survey. The deadline to provide input is October 20th. That's 15 working days from today. So our next steps, we're going to collect the community feedback. To date, we've already had approximately 70 responses on the survey that's been posted, which is wonderful. We will identify the preferred improvement options. We will take that community input, look at cost estimates utilizing our engineering judgment, and look at the recommended improvements in conceptual design for those sections we've talked about, the 100-foot section and 60-foot section. We need to look at how best to accommodate bicyclists, and then those intersection improvements that we briefly mentioned. We'll bring this back to the community for approval. We'll need to amend the thoroughfare plan because right now the thoroughfare plan has a certain number of lanes on it, and we will likely be reducing those number of lanes. We'll need to do the design and engineering, which will be approximately 12 to 18 months per segment. And then we'll need to go to construction, which is approximately 18 to 24 months per segment. So I just want to let you know this is not a short process that we're embarking on, but the first step is conceptual engineering and the conceptual planning here, and make sure that we understand what it is the community wants to see on Davis Street and that we incorporate your feedback into that. So our contact information, as I had mentioned previously, our Public Works Project Manager is Linda Majid, and you can reach her at linda.majid@dallascityhall.com. And Kimberly Smith in transportation is kimberly.smith@dallascityhall.com. And then we've also relisted the project website. That is the end of our formal presentation. And with that, I'm not sure how many questions have been coming up in the chat screen, but we'll open it up at this point.
Okay, so let's start. This is Kimberly Smith. Let's start with the questions from the chats. Mr. Rodriguez asked, for the bike lane option, would it be striped or sharrows or protected?
That will depend on the location. In the areas where we specifically had the buffer shown there, that 2-foot buffer, that would be protected. There could be some areas that it would need to be sharrowed, just depending on how many lanes and the width that we have out there.
Mr. Broderick said Davis Street bike infrastructure is proposed to start at 7th.
Kim, do you have any elaboration on that one by chance?
So, Jonathan, what we're proposing, one of the options is on Davis Street to instead, once it narrows down to the 3-lane section, to drop it down to 7th Street, and that would be a shared facility on 7th. Does that answer that question? But on Davis Street to the west of Rosemont and Marycliff, that is where we have the option of putting it on street. We also have an option of putting it on street to the east also.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Another question by Ellen. Will any of the options involve land acquisition?
That is currently not in the plan. In the section that we have 100-foot of right-of-way, we'll be planning to utilize that 100-foot of right-of-way, and the same in the 60-foot right-of-way section. We are not currently planning on right-of-way acquisition. If for some reason we do have an option that requires that, then we will deal individually with those property owners that may be impacted.
And Rodriguez said section E, from section E Rosemont to section D Hampton. How will you slow traffic because crossing the street is not possible with the speeding cars?
Some of what we're trying to achieve is reducing traffic lanes in this project. And the thought is the reduction of traffic lanes will help to start slowing traffic down, excuse me. We'll also be looking at improvements outside of the curbs, whether that be, if possible, trees or things of that nature to try and make the corridor look a little bit narrower to slow folks down as well. There are other traffic control options that we can look at as we're reviewing the corridor. And if any of the transportation planning staff would like to input, please feel free.
In that area, Chris, do you still have the presentation pulled up? Do you want to pull up the cross section just so we can kind of see what we're talking about?
There we go.
Okay, so this is what's kind of being, these are the options for being proposed in that section between Rosemont and Hampton. It's not just for the Rosemont to Hampton, it's, you know, we're proposing it for a consistency in the entire corridor. So in that particular section, it does widen to 6 lanes. Currently on the south side of the street, I believe there is parking for the apartments. They tend to park on street since there is kind of a lane drop right there. But reducing that area and making it a smoother transition is the goal, the whole goal of this project. We want to make it possible for you to cross the streets, hopefully along the entire corridor. So another question that just came in. between Westmoreland and Hampton, there are so many businesses that will there be a median in that area, not a center turn lane as there is now?
What we have in these options, what I currently have on the screen, is that basically, yes, we are proposing a 15-foot median with a center turn lane. So it would be basically turn pockets would be dedicated at specific locations, and there would be a median in this area. And that's being shown in all three options as a 15-foot median with a center turn lane being proposed.
Another question that came in, when is the estimated construction date? And how long is each section estimated to take?
Okay, let me come back to the kind of this last slide here. So basically, the study itself, we're anticipating is probably going to take us another 6 to 9 months to complete. And at that point, we'll have a prioritization for our design and engineering. We need to work with our partner, Dallas County, in terms of the programming for the individual segments. But as you can see, each segment will probably take approximately 12 to 18 months to design, and then approximately 18 to 24 months to construct. So you're likely not going to see construction on Davis Street for probably another couple of years in the area where we were doing the corridor study.
Thank you. And then the next question is, racing activity intervention would be greatly helped by lane reduction at Hampton, similar to the reduction beyond Rosemont. Is that part of the decision equation?
It is definitely something that we can look at. If you give us that comment, it's something that we'll look at as part of the study and see if it can be accommodated.
Thank you. And the next question, has there been any thought given to shifting to only 2 lanes from Hampton to Rosemont?
I'm coming back up here just to bring up the traffic data that we have up here. So looking at the traffic data that we have, we'll have to examine that in conjunction with the other operational characteristics to see if it's something that we can do with 2 lanes or not. It's something we're open to looking at, definitely.
And that is all of the comments currently in the chat box. Thank you everyone who's commented.
Kim, sorry, this is Jonathan Braddock again. I'm having trouble commenting for some reason now, so I have one more question. Will there be consideration for vertical buffers along the bicycle lane?
Jonathan, I'm gonna let either Chris, would you like to take that, or would you like Jessica Scott, who is on the line, and she is the current bike manager for the city of Dallas?
I'll let Jessica handle it because I'll be honest, I didn't hear the very last part of the question. So hopefully Jessica did.
Jonathan was wondering if we're looking at vertical elements for the buffer.
Hello, this is Jessica. It's certainly something we can consider depending on the width of the buffer, and as mentioned, that space can differ throughout the corridor. So I'd be context sensitive.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that comment. And then we have another one. There is actually higher traffic in the section that Rosemont to Hampton than I'm reading. Am I reading that right? Yes, you are reading that correctly, but that is also 2014 counts, and you're also at a pinch point for the corridor. And then we're looking at the next question. Will existing sidewalks be fixed all along the route, even in the part of the right-of-way that isn't being reconstructed?
Sidewalks and existing sidewalks are typically the responsibility of property owner. However, as we're going through and we're doing the reconstruction project, we will definitely look at areas. And if we're doing a complete reconstruction, we typically will go and we'll look to see what repairs we can make if we have funding available.
And we have another question. Why does the median have to be so wide, and can trees be planted in the median?
One of the reasons the median is so wide is to allow for plantings where we don't have the turn pockets. And the other reason is to basically, once we create those turn pockets, it will create an 11-foot turn pocket, and we'll have 4 foot remaining for still to still have a median buffer there for the vehicles.
Okay, and there's no more. Butch, did that answer your question? I'm not seeing any more questions. We can open it up. Chris, do you want to put on that slide that shows the survey?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get back to the very last one here. There we go. That. Sorry, that one.
Yes. So if you guys look at that real quick, I'm pulling up the current results. We currently have 86 respondents for that survey. So that is excellent. These QR codes, you can scan them with your cell phone, just cover up on your screen the one you don't want to scan, turn on your camera, scan it, take the survey, share it with everyone. I know this is a very active community. I can only hope that we could reach more with the survey, especially, and any feedback on the website, or what's not really a website, it's a blog site, but on the blog posting, which was on your cards that we mailed to almost 1,400 people. You also have a link to that, which provides another comment form. You can email me comments, and that's kimberly.smith, nothing funny in the spelling, at dallascityhall.com. Dallas City Hall is all one word. I'd be happy to discuss further with you any of your comments if you don't have any more to ask tonight.
Okay, well, I'm not hearing any additional comments. I can't see the chat screen, but I know Kimberly is monitoring that. So we appreciate all of you for attending the meeting tonight, and I hope this information is useful for you. We will make sure to get the presentation posted on the project website as well, so you will have this for your future reference. And as Kimberly mentioned, if you have comments, questions, you can email her. You may email Linda. And please complete your surveys and provide us your input, because this is the best way to help direct the project so that you get what you want in your community.
And we will come back to you once we have, oh, and thank you, Mr. West. He just put his phone number and his email in the chat box for everybody to have. So
yeah,
if
Chad West here, everybody. I'm no longer camera ready, so I'm not going to be turning on my camera, but I want to thank everybody again for the feedback and great comments and questions. This is very helpful. And if you, for whatever reason, want to email me instead of staff, I mean, it will eventually get to them, but if you want to reach out to me directly, all my info's in there. That's my cell phone. Thanks again to everybody.
Thank you so much, Councilmember West. We appreciate you being here with us tonight.
Happy to be here. Thank you, everybody.
Well, with that, if no one has any additional questions or comments, then we will go ahead and close the meeting. Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate it very much. Have a wonderful night and be safe and watch the debate.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.